Welcome into the DFS Den. Dave Eddy here, a.k.a. Corporal Eddie on Twitter. Let's get into running backs for week 2. And, of course, we start with cash. And I'm looking straight up at Daryl Henderson right now. So, comes in at a very cheap price. He had great usage in week 1, elite usage, you could say. I don't see that changing in week 2 in a game that, they very well could just blow Atlanta out. So, I think Henderson is probably just a lock for me in cash. Saquon Barclays next on my list. I think he's still very much mispriced after a very solid week 1. I'm still skeptical on Saquon, but it's going to be hard not to play him. He's definitely a top consideration. And then one of my guys that I always love more than everybody else, Trey Edmonds. I think he's going to be, gaining steam this week. Again, very cheap, very good role in a game that I think is probably going to go and hit the over. So Trey Simmons is the guy that I really like. And then got to talk about Leonard Fournette. With all those wide receiver injuries, they could run the ball a lot in Tampa Bay this week. And so he could just have so much volume. And at the end of the day, volume is what we care about in cash. So those are the 4 guys that I'm most strongly looking at right now in cash. Like I said, I think Henderson is going to be a lock for me. Let's get to MME. We're going to have some same names here. Again, you got to think about Saquon. I mean, like I said, mispriced, probably going to have high volume. I'm not a big fan of, the ownership, though, looking like the highest owned running back potentially on this slate. And because I am skeptical on him, it could be something that I just fade this week. Jeff Wilson, again, cheap running back. We're going to get a lot of those, it seems, this week with good volume. If he stays under 10% ownership, I'm probably going to be in on him. I don't know about super heavy, but well over the field, that's for sure. If he starts getting, over 10%, if he creeps into even like the 15% neighborhood, then I might just have to be out on him. And then Daryl Henderson, my cash lock. Man, it's again cheap, good volume, right? Like, I mean, rinse and repeat with these guys. If he pushes 20% though in MME, I may just have to fade and just attack that passing game. But if he sticks around, where he's at now, I'm probably going to be over the field on him, but I don't think I'm going to go too crazy. We got Josh Jacobs. I think he's a nice pivot off the Raiders passing game, but unfortunately, I'm not the only one with that idea. He's up to about 15% projected ownership right now, so not as much leverage as I was hoping for. I might just, be even with the field on this one. But I do think he makes an interesting play, specifically if his ownership were to drop. Najee Harris, for Najee, I think, again, he's pretty cheap. He's going to be fairly low owned, but, boy, I told you I didn't trust Saquon, and I really don't trust Najee. I'm just not sure, if he gets the touches, with the injury. I'm just very, very scared of him this week. I think that's a guy I probably just fade, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it's a shame that his ownership is so low because it makes you want to, chuck him in there. Antonio Gibson, I think that's great leverage off of what's probably going to be a pretty popular passing game. I think a lot of people are on the Commanders and Lions over, so, attacking the passing game there. If he stays under 10%, I absolutely love it. I will be very heavy on Antonio Gibson. But going up against that Lions defense, it's hard not to attack a lot of the Commander side of the ball. And with Gibson, being, I think, under-owned, that's a place that I like. Going back up to Trey Edmonds again, we talked about him in cash. I love him there, but I also love him in MME. Again, very cheap. I think he's got a great role, especially on DraftKings full PPR. I think it's going to be very interesting. If he stays under 10% ownership, again, I'm going to be very heavy on this guy. I think that it's a game that's going to blow away the over. So another reason that I really like him. And then drop in CMC here real quick. I'm just unsure what I'm going to do with him. I really like his price, but man, I sure wish he was drawing less than 15% ownership. I might just be even with the field with him at this point. I don't have a strong feel to say I need to go overweight or I should fade him. I'm just not sure what to do. It's tough that he's playing with Saquon because I don't really like to jam 2 running backs from the same game in, so I'll probably just limit it to 1. And, man, I don't know. It's tough. So you'll have to decide, how your lineups work for you and if you can afford CMC this week. And if you can, nothing wrong with jamming them in. But that's what I'm doing here for week 2. If you haven't done so yet, pop on over here, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you've got those notifications turned on so you get an alert every time a new video comes out. And I wish you the best of luck in week 2. We'll see you for week 3.